The Hog Sty is brought to you by TicketClub.com, your one-stop shop for live events nationwide. Whether you're looking for game, theater, or live performance tickets, don't sweat it. TicketClub.com has you covered. So make sure you're going there for all your live entertainment needs, and make sure you're clicking over to them from the banner at the top of the hogsty.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another fun-filled episode of the Hog Sty. It's football season again, and I know that means you're all happy because I'm happy. And I just love it, Steve. I love seeing fourth stringers going against fourth stringers. By the way, this is Alex. Jamal said he couldn't make it. We have no idea where Sean is, like usual.
In other words, it's a normal day.
It's a normal day.
You don't know where Sean is.
Yes. Happy football season to you, Steve.
It's not even morning, though. That's what kills me, you know?
No. Sean usually is good when we do these night shows.
Yeah, this is the Jalen McClendon honor show, I guess. Because we've got a new quarterback, ladies and gentlemen. No, but it's good. I mean, thank God football's back. It was such a shame to see football go the way it did last Thursday, of course.
Oh, it was not pretty.
Yeah,
not pretty at all.
Ugly. It was ugly, but I don't know what anybody expected. Did you really expect it to go differently?
No.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I mean, here's the thing. They started, about half the starters, if even?
Yeah.
It was mostly, hey, here's a couple starters and mostly a bunch of second stringers versus a bunch of first stringers.
I mean, of course, the Browns sat some people, too. The Browns didn't start a full complement either. But I just mean, generally speaking, it's like, have you guys been watching the Redskins the past half decade?
Right.
Did you
Jay
expect
Green
them
hates preseason games in general. He doesn't want to play anybody.
And frankly, his teams aren't ready in the early season.
No,
blame him,
not.
blame whoever, but they aren't ready. And so I didn't expect anything but a total disaster. And I was unfortunately rewarded with that.
With a total disaster, which is great.
Yeah. What can you say? Okay, so if we want to go over stats real fast, just to knock it out. I mean, I know it's late, but you guys have seen this already. But real fast, I'll go over a few of them. Dwayne Haskins, 8 for 14, 117 yards, 2 interceptions, quarterback rating 44.9. Case Keenum was 4 of 9 for 60 yards, quarterback rating of 103.9, mainly because he had a touchdown in there. Josh Woodrum, who's no longer, ex-Redskin Josh Woodrum, no longer on the team, was 6 for 11, 44 yards, for a quarterback rating of 26.3. Wow.
Now, is he an ex-Redskin? I thought he was just put on IR.
You're right. He was put on IR.
So he's still a Redskin.
Technically speaking. Yes. Yeah, at the end of this year, he will be an ex-Redskin.
Right. That's nice of them.
Okay, Craig Reynolds. Somebody named Craig Reynolds was the Redskins' leading rusher. And I'm kidding. Yes, we know who Craig Reynolds is. But he had 9 carries, 21 yards. Right. Haskins was 2 for 17. Byron Marshall, 2 for 17. Samaje Perine really burned up the field. 6 carries, 13 yards. And it gets worse from there. Darvin Kidsey, 5 receptions, 86 yards. He led the way. Robert Davis, 1 for 46 and a touchdown. And it goes down from there. I'm not reading all these depressing stats.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, blah, blah. Exactly right. And just to make everybody feel bad, Baker Mayfield, 5 for 6, 77 yards, 1 touchdown, a perfect quarterback rating of 158.3. Garrett Gilbert, somebody named Garrett Gilbert, was 14 for 22, 135 yards with a quarterback rating of 80.7. And Drew Stanton, who sucked and was awful, I thought, was 3 of 8 for 63 yards, but still had a better quarterback rating than both Dwayne Haskins and Josh Woodrum, 66.1. So there you go.
Not a great day.
No.
And I know Haskins is going to be a lot of what we're going to talk about.
Yes.
But can we? I want to start with the whole Samaje Perine thing. People seem to get really upset about Samaje Perine's just existence on this team now on social media, I noticed. What did you guys expect? I know Gruden was kind of saying, oh, Samaje looks great. He's going to say that in camp about everybody. He's not really going to badmouth people very much in camp these days. So, you were expecting, Samaje to come out and suddenly become Adrian Peterson?
And you were expecting Jay Gruden to stand up and say, boy, Samaje sure sucked. Just a real shame I played him. He doesn't deserve to get another carry.
Right. Yeah. Man, Samaje, we didn't play him at all last year, and there's a good reason for it.
Look, I mean, he's average. He's always going to be average.
Right.
I mean, probably a waste of a draft pick. What can you say?
Not even probably.
Yeah, it's just not going to work out.
Right.
Sometimes it doesn't work out.
Use him in preseason. Yeah. Let him get hurt in preseason. And then move on from him.
Sometimes in life and in football, things don't work out, and that is Samaje Perine. I don't know what else to tell you. I would have much rather have Samaje eat 6 carries than have another Darius Guy situation, and get him hurt.
Exactly. Use Samaje up in preseason because somebody's got to do it, right?
Exactly.
You need to get those snaps to somebody. And here's the thing. Samaje made a nice little chunk of change for a failed NFL career, so I'm not going to feel too bad for him.
Oh, I don't feel bad for him at all.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a shot.
Right.
What can you say? And who's to say he won't get another shot? Maybe someone else, will bring him into camp. Who knows?
I'm sure he'll go to the XFL or something. That'll be what happens.
It didn't work here. I don't know what to tell you guys. I know there's a group of people out there that really like Samaje and think he can be good and all that, but I hate to burst your bubble. He's average.
Yeah, I was in that group for probably longer than I should have been, frankly.
I was never.
Yeah, I love big power back type players. I wish we could find one that worked out, but it hasn't.
We have a big power back. It's called Adrian Peterson.
Yeah. I think he's a little more balanced than what I was thinking, but yeah, Peterson's.
I'd call him a power back. He's an everything, do everything back.
Yeah, he really is an everything back. All right, but that was just my little mini thing I wanted to rant about. Yeah. Where do we want to really start?
We got to start with Dwayne Haskins. Let's start with the quarterback. Let's start with quarterbacks in general, okay? So, Case Keenum started the game.
Right.
I didn't think he looked very good. I thought his passes weren't coming off his hand very well. He fluttered a lot of balls.
Checking down very quickly.
Yeah, checked down very quickly. But more than that, I didn't think his passes just did not look good to me. I was very unimpressed with Case Keenum in that regard. And I realize, especially in preseason, he's going to check down a lot, and he's going to do that anyway because he's Case Keenum. But I just did not like the way he threw the ball.
Well, and keep in mind, a lot of people are making a lot about the pressure he was under. It was almost all backup linemen for him.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to the offensive line.
We'll get to that too. But
yeah.
Here's what I saw. If I would like to, if I had the time, play a game of just taking pictures of Case Keenum dropping back with his name blurred out, and then Kirk Cousins with the Redskins and his name blurred out, and seeing if people could even recognize the difference. They look the exact same the way they play.
They kind of do.
It's kind of creepy, and the fact that they wear the same number and they're both like the same size, and
maybe it really is Kirk Cousins.
It could be, and we wouldn't know.
Exactly.
When you occasionally see his face, you wouldn't know.
Although Kirk Cousins never threw wounded ducks like Case Keenum did on Thursday.
That's true. Kirk has a better arm.
Yeah, I think Case just probably had a bad day, and maybe a couple of those balls got tipped. I mean, I haven't watched all 22 of this game because I'm not a masochist, you know. But I don't know. I mean, I think he just had a bit. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt for now, at least. And I think, Jay said in comments that he thinks Colt is going to be able to play this coming Thursday against Cincy, and we're going to get to that.
I mean, I heard Colt had to come off the field early today. It's Sunday. So last day of training camp. I heard Colt had to come off the field early. Whatever this mystery...
You mean he's hurt again?
Whatever this mystery, like, quasi-injury thing he has, it's still bugging him.
I'm truly shocked that Colt McCoy is getting hurt again.
Right.
And I'm also shocked that the Redskins aren't being honest about injuries. Imagine that.
Right.
Frankly, this is not a team that has a good history of fully disclosing injuries. Okay?
Right. Even if you don't believe Trent Williams' story, you also know the injury history of this team isn't good.
No, not at all. So who knows? Maybe we will see Case Keenum again. I just wasn't impressed by him particularly. But that having been said, like you said, it was a patchwork offensive line. The starting receivers were basically Darvin Kidsey and Robert Davis, and Trey Quinn.
Are probably fifth and sixth string type guys.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not good.
Best. Although Darvin Kidsey looked good, he really did. He has
so
burst.
did Davis. Davis has looked good.
The touchdown, the 46-yard touchdown, was a lot less Robert Davis and a lot more the Browns. Let's be honest. And on top of that, Case still underthrew him. If everybody didn't notice this, Case Keenum still underthrew him. He did not hit Davis in stride. Davis had to slow down, go back and slow down and kind of lean backwards to grab it. The ball was underthrown.
Yeah, but from where Davis was when he got injured, you just got to be happy to see him on the field.
I was most distressed about this game that I got home late and I had to start the game late. And so, and I'm watching this Drek, and now by the time I got done, it's almost like 11 o'clock, and then I've got to write the game recap. It's just, it was just one of those things that it was a real drag.
We got to teach you how to, pre-write these game recaps, and you just fill in the blanks.
Because it's always the same.
Such really stunk, and you just, fill in such and such,
Yeah, normally I make it a little bit easier on myself by writing it during the game, but since I had to watch the game on the computer, it made it a little bit more difficult.
Oh yeah, I forgot that you have to do that. That's a pain.
So that was Case Keenum. We weren't impressed.
No,
I personally didn't think the ball came off his hand very well. Hopefully, it will get better because I do think he needs to be the starter come week 1. Certainly, if Colt McCoy's magic injury, whatever it is, keeps dwelling.
Yeah. I'm with you.
So, what was your opinion of Dwayne Haskins?
Well, we asked a listener poll. Do we want to use that first to kind of springboard us in?
Okay.
Because for those who don't know, usually Steve does handle our Twitter unless he's like, hey, I can't do it. Then I always end up having to do it. I don't think Jamal even knows how to get on our Twitter, and I don't think Sean does either.
I don't think either one of them want to get on our Twitter.
No, I don't think they would. But anyway, so I asked the question after Haskins kind of was finished after, 2 quarters?
Yes.
He played 2 full quarters?
2 quarters.
So I asked the listeners what they thought, and I just said A, B, C, D. Give me a grade. I probably would have been smarter going B, C, D, F, just off the top of my head.
Now, did you look at the result?
I saw it when I was still tweeting. So
but you don't know how it turned out then? You don't know how it turned out then?
I don't know the final, but... 300 people or something responded.
Okay, you have a sense of it then. So we'll forego guessing like we usually do.
Right. It was not favorable, but probably better than I thought.
It was a blowout, actually.
Yeah.
The grade of C won by a vote of 61%.
Right. Which is surprising to me.
D got the D grade got 19%. That was second place. 17% of you voted B, and the bold and brave 3% of you voted A. I don't quite know how you guys saw A out of that, but you're certainly entitled to your opinion.
I'm going to just assume there's a lot of cocaine involved
or something. Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Some kind of drug that is more than alcohol.
Just to give a few opinions, we got a lot of comments, and to be perfectly honest with you, I didn't have time to really review them today, but I'm going to review.
Most of them had a lot of profanity, I noticed.
Yeah, I usually censor that out, but we're going to go over a couple of comments. Real Spider Dad says, no way to start him this season, no need to rush him into this questionable system. Real Spider Dad, the system isn't questionable, it's more the personnel that are running the system. Just hint, the system's pretty sound. But okay, Carol Hiltz, we got a woman. We always have to read the women. She says, he's a rookie with... Sorry about that, Carol. He's a rookie with 1 year of college ball. It's going to take him a while to adjust to the NFL. You're certainly correct.
Yes.
Boom Bastic, who's at Milton Z3rd, says 2 bad picks, not against starters. Okay. Marshall writes, he graded C and says, showed big-time ability but showed lack of experience. Those throws happen when internal clock is rushed. Game's moving fast right now. Steve endorses that comment.
Yeah, I think you nailed it, Marshall.
Yeah, exactly. I think so. We're going to... That's about all. I think that's the flavor of the comments. It was nothing good came out of these comments. Pretty much. It was all more or less that. Game Changer, who is Keith Dix, 35, writes, Haskins did a great job. The 2 bad picks are the reason why I gave him a C. He will learn and get better. Okay, fair enough.
And you know what? That's not even that far apart from what Marshall was saying. Here's the thing. When you saw him make some great throws like that, one that ended up being a fumble, that is a better throw than we've seen from Kirk Cousins or Colt McCoy. You'll never see Case Keenum make that tight throw 20 yards down the sideline.
Let's say this. The ball jumps off his hand.
It does.
You can really tell when it's Dwayne Haskins throwing a ball. If you blurt out the quarterbacks and just show the ball being thrown, you would know it's Dwayne Haskins because he has got such an incredible amount of arm talent that the ball just jumps off his hand in a way that even Robert Griffin couldn't really do. I think his arm is actually better than Griffin.
Probably the closest we've had in a long time.
For sure.
But before that, I can't tell you who the last one was.
No, not like this. Not like that. And he made a couple good plays. You saw the highs and lows of Dwayne Haskins.
Right.
You saw, what was his first pass? He gets some pressure, scrambles right, hits a tight window 20 yards downfield. I mean, that's a great play.
Right.
Hit another one down the left sidelines in a really tight window. Great play. Those two interceptions, one, the fade, just a horrible throw. He said, and Dwayne admitted that in comments.
Was it a fade or was that really like a flat route?
Well, the ball was basically kind of a fade because it was supposed to come
fade,
over and drop in.
That was the problem. The running back was more running a flat route, and he threw a fade.
Well, no, I mean, he was on the sidelines, kind of running down the sidelines. I don't know. I mean, It was
a bad play.
And it was over the wrong shoulder. It was just a bad throw. And, the other interception, threw it into coverage, bad throw, didn't see it. He held the ball too long. I think what we saw out of Dwayne is he's just not ready. He's got the natural talent, but he's not close. That's what I got out of it.
I overall agree with you. Here's the thing. That throw into triple coverage, that's one thing that you can, I think, within a few weeks, really drum that into a quarterback and say, you can't make that throw in this league. You can't do it. It's just not going to happen. And the thing that concerned me, and this is getting kind of nitpicky, on not a lot, but a couple throws, he was doing the whole, instead of, having your proper drop back, right footwork, he was, doing little jump passes, and, I don't think he ever completed one. And you got to take a guy like that and, train him. You've got to throw this thing properly every time. You're not an athlete quarterback who's going to jump pass and, try and do what Robert Griffin does or Russell Wilson. You've got to play more like, old school.
He's a traditional drop-back passer. But one thing we did see,
and
I got to pat myself on the back for this because I told you guys in our draft preview stuff that Dwayne Haskins was more mobile than you thought. And
right.
No, he's not.
He showed that.
Yeah,
yes.
No, he's not Kyler Murray. He's not going to be Kyler Murray, but he can move around in the pocket. He has pretty good sense of the pocket, and he showed some good talent in the pocket. He rolled out of traffic. Out to his left,
downfield.
Yeah.
Beautifully done by him, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And he scrambled for 2 carries, 17 yards. Like I said, he can move around enough to be an NFL quarterback. He's not going to be a runner. But that having been said, he's not a statue either. So I applaud him for that.
When a quarterback runs, I just need him to get 5 yards. I don't care if he gets you 20-yard chunks like.
And you know what? I mean, we've seen this movie too. Yeah. Kyler Murray's going to get hurt.
Right.
And first of all, I'm not convinced that he can. I'm not convinced in him in the first place, and you're never going to convince me he's 5'10". But beyond that, we've seen this movie. Robert Griffin got hurt. These guys get hurt. Just wait for Lamar Jackson.
The only one who has been Russell Wilson.
But Russell Wilson is stocky.
Right. He's differently built. Yes.
Yeah, he is. So, I don't know. But point is, I think, and I also think that Haskins is having trouble with the play calls. We've kind of got that sense coming out of training camp. And, I can't really blame him. From what I understand about the way Ohio State called plays, their play calls were forward plays, and sometimes the quarterback didn't even call the plays in the huddle.
Right.
And now you're going to go into Jay Gruden's incredibly complicated. For those of you guys don't know, Jay Gruden's play calls are 10 to 15 words. He's got to learn all of that. And so I just think it's way too early. I think there's no reason. I think what we established against the Browns is there's no reason to throw Haskins to the Wolves out there. Just let him sit and get better. He's got the talent. He's going to be good for a long time. But, he's just not
as long as you don't ruin him too early.
Exactly right.
And by the way, it's not just Jay Gruden. It's all the NFL. Play calling is just more complicated than college. You have bigger playbooks. In college, people get away with doing very simple playbooks at times. I mean, who was it we were hearing about in the last draft that he's like, we basically had 2 routes that we ran as receivers. Was it Metcalf who said that? Like, they either did a flat or a go route, and that was their entire offense.
I don't remember who said that.
Somebody said that. I think it was Metcalf. But
that is what Metcalf did in college, so that might have been him, but I don't know if he said it.
But anyway, that was...
Well, don't you remember...
that's what happened.
When John Gruden was doing that Gruden's quarterback camp, and he had Cam Newton there, and he was asking Cam Newton about play calling, and what Cam said is that the plays were numbered.
Right.
And so they would hold a sign up that says number 4, and that was the play, and they knew what it was. And now what you're going from that, from a little bit more advanced version of that for Dwayne Haskins to, I got to know 10 to 15 words and what they mean and all of that. And let me tell you the other thing about Haskins. I think some of that pressure came from him missing protection calls. Okay, because some of the pressure was coming in the lineman did not. The Redskins offensive lineman did not properly block the Browns defensive lineman, and it looked to me like it was because they were not in the right place, and that's on the quarterback. And so I think that he's learning how to do that too. Because like Zach Karam missed one where he just didn't watch the. I think it might even been Myles Garrett just run right straight past him, and that looked to me like it was more of a protection call than Zach Karam had a brain fart.
Well, I mean, we saw it 3 times where one of the guards would just flat out not hit the right guy. Yeah,
and all that is protection calls on Dwayne Haskins.
Right. Now, when the season starts, if he's, under center, you can kind of move some of that to the center to help a quarterback who's just not experienced with calling protection.
Definitely so.
We've seen that in the past, and I don't think that's unusual in the NFL to see that.
No, it's not.
Yeah, he needs to start understanding it now. I mean, preseason is about teaching, and we have to keep that in mind too when we're watching this kind of stuff happen.
I mean, I'm not down on Dwayne at all. I still like him. I still think he was the best quarterback in the draft. I just think that he's not ready in any way.
I think what is good about this, it finally tells these fans who are like, "Oh, it's playing week 1." No, this is a firm reality check for, I think, the more homeristic fans who think Haskins can, come in week 1 and lead this team to a conference championship or something.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
We're not. I think that's not the plan this time.
I think that would be a mistake. I think, you got to play Case.
I think
Colt.
So too.
Honestly, to be honest, I think Jay Gruden's the type of guy that if Colt McCoy is healthy, Colt McCoy is going to start.
Probably. But I'll even go as far as saying, you keep playing them. Now, you should get Haskins playing time when you can. If there's garbage time or down 3 scores, sure, put Haskins in for a fourth quarter so he gets some reps. Or even the other way around. If we're up a couple scores, give him some playing time.
You just can't ruin the guy. I mean, the problem is if you throw him in, week 1 and he does awful, and then you have to replace him, and then it's kind of over. Yeah, it's kind of over. Right. I would rather lose than mess Dwayne Haskins up for life.
Right. Yeah. Just accept that this year is going to be a bad year.
Yeah.
And now, we'll get a high draft pick.
Well, I mean, Jay Gruden might not accept that because his job's on the line. But something tells me Jay probably knows what's about to happen.
I think he does. And it's always a raw deal for coaches, I feel like, to be in this situation. And he got kind of boned from the get-go because typically a coach comes in, then he picks a quarterback in the draft right away. Jay never got to do that for 5 years.
He did now, though.
Yeah.
It's a bit too little too late, maybe.
Right,
exactly. But, I mean, Jay is never... I mean, my problem with Jay... It's easy to say he doesn't motivate his people, blah, blah, blah. But my real fault with Jay is 2 things. Number one, his teams are never ready in the early part of the season ever. It takes them several weeks to get going, and I blame the coach for that. And the other thing is his play calling is way too predictable. If I can look at a play and you can look at the play and tell what's going on, and we're a couple of stupids on a podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, that means that the NFL all knows it too. And so I blame him for those 2 things more than anything, Jay.
Sure. And I mean, that's understandable. But, that said, those 2 criticisms, you could also have leveled at Bill Belichick for most of the last 5 years. They never are ready for the first 4 weeks. And their play calling is pretty predictable on offense. It's going to be Tom Brady dumping it off to the slot. They
win Super Bowls is the thing, and the Redskins win nothing.
Exactly. Well, but they have Tom Brady, and they have star receivers, and Redskins have had nothing like that, which, I'm not saying that's a fair comparison. I'm just saying,
the Patriots actually really haven't had star receivers, honestly. Tom Brady makes them stars. They had Randy Moss was the only one they had was a legit star.
Yeah, Wes Welker became a star because of him.
Julian Edelman was nothing before he came, relatively speaking.
Well, Gronk, but he's a tight end. And
Gronk was drafted by the Pats also, so. But anyway, this is not the Pats show because I'm not in the mood to talk about them. So offensive line.
Let's get to offensive line. That was a shit show.
I think my very first initial thought of Jaron Christian is, oh boy, this guy isn't ready for prime time because Myles Garrett was beating him like a drum. And then I watched a little bit of it again, and the play that really stuck out to me the most, Garrett was actually lined up in the neutral zone. So I can't blame Christian for that. But I do think he's ultimately, that aside, it's not going to be pretty at left tackle in the regular season for him. I hope Donald Penn is the starter, not Christian, because that might go. At least Donald Penn is an established vet.
Right. I mean, my gut will tell me that both will get some playing time. Just, you have a 35-year-old and you have a inexperienced young guy. Like, one of them's going to get hurt. You just know it's going to happen, so the other's going to have to play. Yeah. And I agree with you. Christian, not great. He might be the best option after Penn. That it's just
there's
we don't
no
have
doubt about
else.
that. There's really no other realistic option.
Because the other guy who they brought in, that some people are like, well, maybe he can play left tackle. No, Flowers is not gonna. He can't play guard. I'm not trusting him at tackle.
I thought he was a little bit better at guard than he was at tackle. Okay, he did have his moments where he looked halfway decent. I'm not saying he should start. I'm not a member of the Eric Flowers fan club. I'm saying he was a little bit better at guard than he was at tackle. And he did at times do some good things. So, I mean, it wasn't that bad. That having been said, I definitely am rooting for the Donald Penn, Wes Martin connection to start the season for sure.
Yeah, if Trent really never comes back or whatever they're saying, or if he holds out the whole season, those would be my 1-2. And Wes Martin, when he got in there, he actually played. I know he was playing against number 3s or whatever, or number 2s. But he plays like a guy who wants to start. If you watch his technique, it's solid. I don't remember seeing him doing any pulls or anything fancy, but just standing up and hitting his guy in front of him, he was solid.
I think
throughout the day.
He's realistically probably our best option.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think he's one of those things. He might start out a little rough in the season, but he'll develop pretty quickly. I get the feeling.
But I mean, left tackle. If Jaron Christian's out there, left tackle at the start of the year, boy, it's going to go badly.
Well, you're going to need to put a tight end next to him. That's for sure.
I mean, but who are you going to put out there?
Yeah, well,
Jordan Reed.
Sprinkle. I mean, that's the only blocking tight end we'll really probably have.
And those two guys are going to face DeMarcus Lawrence and who's the with the Bears? Help me.
Khalil Mack.
Thank you. Khalil Mack and DeMarcus Lawrence are coming in the first couple weeks of the season.
Not pretty.
And then you got Fletcher Cox coming from Philly in the first. That's game 1, right?
Although Fletcher Cox usually plays more of a DT type thing.
Yeah, but where are you going to line him up if you got Jaron Christian and
yes, you're going to put him on the left side.
Yeah,
I know
exactly.
You're not going to put him against Brandon Sheriff. No,
exactly right. So, it's going to be a problem. I'm still kind of in the screw Trent crowd. I still think that we don't know anything more than we did last week, but I think it's all about the money, and even if it's not, he's being completely selfish and screw Trent. So, as far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't trade him for anything. I'd make him sit out. I'd make him hold out the entire year. There's no reason to. We're not going to. We can trade him at the end of the season and get the same thing out of him. We're not going to improve our situation by trading him now. So, in my view, let him hold out, and we'll trade him in.
That actually does make sense.
We can trade him in February and get the same thing.
Right.
So screw him. That's my view. Unless you're going to get a young tackle back, which you aren't.
Right. No one would make that trade.
Right, exactly right. So screw him, let him sit out. And I think it's even if this is not about the money and it's about the growth on his head and he's mad at the training staff, it's completely unreasonable for a player to ask the team to fire the training staff. That's not a reasonable request in any way.
See, I actually don't think it's unreasonable for players to say our training staff's not up to par. Like, it's important to have a good surrounding staff. Like, if you have a weak member on your team, and I know, like, your job, you're kind of more of a individualistic with what you do.
I'm not the right person to ask about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, but in some of your past career positions, we could say,
yeah,
if you had the wrong people on your team, you have to speak up about it from time to time.
I agree, but the idea of the team captain and the best player saying, I'm going to take my ball and go home unless you fire
right. I don't believe in doing that. But
no, that's crazy.
Like, we had a guy, I'm not going to obviously name names, not that it would matter, yeah. But he was on our and I work on a team of 4 guys, and I just went to my boss one point and said, this guy's coming in late, he's not showing up, or he's not learning anything. We got to get somebody else in here. It's just not. It's been 4 months of trying this guy. He's not working. Like, you have to have those conversations from time to time.
Yeah, you certainly do. I mean, I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying his position is totally unreasonable. That's all I'm saying.
To demand they're fired,
if that's even what it is.
Yeah.
And I still think it's probably about money, with him. But the other thing is, if you have a growth in your head, what are you doing trusting the trainers?
That's another thing.
That's like a dermatological thing at most. Maybe you need to see an oncologist.
Right.
You don't go to the athletic trainers who are what they probably said. I would assume is, it looks like it's okay to us. Keep an eye on it. And
sure.
And we heard rumors that I've read rumors that nobody told us this, that he missed a couple appointments, Trent, about it.
With the doctor,
yeah. Who knows?
Something
I don't
like that was floating on social media.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not true. Who knows? But what do you do in trust and trainers? If you're that big, go to a doctor, a specialist. So
See, I would understand it more if it's like, I don't trust the trainers because we've had 100 injuries in the last 2 years. And
exactly.
Like, that's a different story.
Well, to me, it's a world of difference. To if he'd gone to the Redskins team physician and the Redskins team physician diagnosis is benign and said, don't worry about it, it's nothing, that's a world apart from going to the trainers who said, just watch it,
right.
And then go see a specialist and you don't. That's on you, man, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm not in any way Team Trent on this. I think I'm in the minority on it, but that's, I'm also used to that.
Well, I'm Team Trent in that I would rather see him back on the offensive line than sit out.
I'm with you there.
Yeah.
I'm with you there. But I'm in the no way am I trading him at least until the end of the season.
No, I just don't think a trade's realistic.
I just don't think it. I think it serves no purpose right now. What did we get out of it right now?
No, I know. But let's get back to the rest of the offensive line.
Sorry, we could babble about this forever.
Yeah. So I don't believe Brandon Scherf even suited up for the game, or he suited up, but he didn't play.
Right.
Same with Moses, right? Moses. So we basically didn't have a real starter except for maybe
Chase Roullier played.
Yeah. So four of our 5 starting linemen weren't really starters.
Here's Myles Garrett.
Right.
Have fun.
Right. And that kind of could explain a lot of what we saw.
Well, frankly, it showed.
Yes.
They weren't. The running game was absolutely non-existent.
Right.
Absolutely, totally non-existent.
Doesn't help that it's Samaje Perine back there, but
Yeah. But, I mean, maybe that's also why that Jay didn't want to even risk Adrian Peterson or Darius Skies, knowing what he was throwing out there.
Or Colt McCoy, for that matter.
Yeah. Because Colt's going to break at the first wind. If there's a strong wind, the Colt's going to break.
Well, I mean, Josh did break. Think about that.
Josh
we technically lost our 4th quarterback already.
Yeah, he's now on IR.
So, hey, what was the number last year? 45 guys? Or something like that?
45
on IR?
What? Oh, no, it was like 27 or something.
Oh, was it only 27 guys?
No, we didn't have 40. There's never been a team with 45.
Or it was 45 in the last 2 years or something like that.
Well, combined total, we had over 20 in both. We were approaching, probably, I need to count, but getting close to 50 for 2 years.
Well, okay, so let's add one to the chalkboard for this year. That's my point.
We almost have an entire team on IR over the past 2 years. Almost a full roster. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so that's offensive line. What can you say? Tight end wise, I didn't see anything spectacular. Obviously, Reed and Vernon Davis didn't play.
Right.
Jeremy Sprinkle did play a lot. Donald Parham dropped the ball. My boy, my sleeper pick, dropped the ball there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Hit him in the hands and he dropped it. You're making me look bad. Thanks, Donald.
Hey, my guy Flanagan didn't do much better. So
no, he didn't. Yeah, he didn't do anything either. Receiver wise, I think Darvin Kidsey was the star of the show. Mm-hmm. And it was really good to see Robert Davis playing again after the devastating knee injury that he had, the awful things we were hearing over the offseason about it. I was really glad to see him play again.
Right, and I don't think we even talked about them on the show, some of the stuff we had heard, and I don't want to talk about because we never. It's just unsubstantiated.
Yeah. We heard some stuff, but as far in terms of those two guys, I mean, they're probably on the outside looking in right now in terms of depth chart.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, if you really want to look at the wide receiver depth chart, the locks obviously are Richardson, Quinn, and Terry McLaurin are locks.
Well,
Josh
McLaurin only got one snap last week.
That's not. That means that means he's a lock.
But, I was not expecting that. I was hoping to see some of him.
That means Jay Gruden loves him enough already. And did you hear what Jay said in the presser about him?
No.
He said, he's a great special teamer, and the special teams guys really love him. But I had no idea I didn't know that he was such a good receiver. So I don't know if we even want him on special teams.
Right.
Words that's not quite 100% right, but it was words to that effect, meaning that he might be a starter day one that you don't want to risk on special teams.
Right. Well, good. I mean, how many times have I kind of said I would probably have him be my go receiver? Yeah. He's that good.
So, but all these other guys, I mean, there's a lot of guys fighting for 2, maybe 3 spots. Josh Doxson, he's either going to be, I don't know. I said he was locked 2 weeks ago. Who knows? He's probably on the team. So then you've got Jehu Chesson, Kelvin Harmon, Brian Quick,
Sims,
Romming's gone now, Sims, and then Cam Sims and Steven Sims. All those guys are fighting
Sims
for
and Sims.
Slots.
Yes.
Yeah, fighting for maybe 2 slots. So there's a lot of guys. Some of them have talent who we're going to have to reluctantly say goodbye to.
Yeah.
Or at least see them to the practice squad.
Right.
So that's
if they make it.
To me, the bigger issue almost was defense. I don't know about you.
Yeah. Our base defense against the starters was not very good.
They sucked.
Now, again, we held out a lot of guys. I think we held out all our starting defensive linemen.
For the most part, yeah.
But still, they were not getting any pressure. They were letting guys run open behind them.
There's a lot of poor tackling.
Yeah. Shocker. No, I didn't see much from our linebackers in coverage.
No.
I know you've heard that one before.
Everett missed more than one tackle. DRC, it pulled the famous move of hitting but not wrapping up, and therefore missed tackles. You had several dropped interceptions. Sean Dion Hamilton dropped at least one. Let's see. I had them written down. I can't find my notes. There were 2 other dropped. Oh, here. No, that's injury. I can't find it. But Sean Dion Hamilton and 2 others dropped interceptions.
Right.
It just was not a good look all around. And they let the Browns 2-minute offense here's the beauty part of it. What came out in the media today, Sunday, as we're recording this, is that the Browns coaching staff actually told the Redskins staff that they were going to run the 2-minute offense. And what happened? They let them run straight down the field anyway. You knew it was coming, and you couldn't stop it anyway. With a guy who's played, 8 games at quarterback?
Yeah, something like that.
That was bad. I thought the defense was extremely poor, knowing still that the major big boys didn't play much, if at all.
Yeah, and now part of it is they were told, hey, we're running 2-minute offense, like you said. I didn't know that, but that's not surprising. The Redskins basically, in that starting drive, were playing a standard 4 defensive backs, not 4 corners, but I don't think they ever had a nickel corner in. Mm-mm. And they're going against 3-4 receiver sets, and they just don't have the right personnel in. Now, I don't know if this was on purpose by the Redskins to say, hey, let's see how our guys do with, that kind of mismatch.
It's possible.
But, that might be giving them too much credit.
Here's the thing, though, okay? I get that. And you're right to say they weren't game planning. Certainly, they're not trying to match packages. I get all that. But other teams do the same thing, and they don't look like a complete travesty in the preseason. True. So what is it about this team? You can point to a lot of things. Point to the coach probably first.
Right.
I guess.
As much as I am a Gruden fan, he doesn't get them ready for this.
Just some other random notes. I thought Adonis Alexander looked bad. He dropped one interception, but he was another interception dropper. Missed some tackles. I thought he looked slow-footed. He did not have a good day. Casanova McKenzie did have a good day. Got some good pressure on there, so that was good. He made a name for himself. Deion Harris, a corner, bad night. I don't think he helped himself in any way.
All right, can we get to the big name?
Please.
Jimmy Moreland.
Jimmy Moreland, I was saving him.
What did you think about... Because, all right, he had, 4 big plays, but they also, I think, targeted him about 20 times in that third and fourth quarter. Yeah. It seemed like every pass was thrown at whoever Jimmy Moreland was trying to cover.
He's the latest training camp hero.
Right.
I think my original analysis of him stands. He's flashy. He makes big plays. He will not hesitate to jump routes. I was very surprised. Was it you? Did you interview him, or was it Jamal that interviewed him? It was Jamal, wasn't it?
Jamal, I think, talked to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was very surprised when he told Jamal he liked press man coverage best, because I actually think that's what he's least successful at. I think he's sort of like a D'Angelo Hall zone coverage better, personally. But I think he's going to get picked on if he has to start in the regular season, is what I think.
Oh, yeah. No question about that.
I'm rooting for him. I know the fans love him. I love him. I also think that it's just preseason, and he's going up against the likes of the Browns' third and fourth string receivers.
Right.
And it's just, I certainly wouldn't throw him out there immediately. I don't think he's ready for all that, but he's going to be a good player for us.
No, but as a fourth corner, I think, you could ask for a lot worse.
And listen, Quentin Dunbar is still hurt.
Right.
You never know.
He's not 100% yet.
No, and obviously Jay Gruden likes Jimmy.
Right.
So maybe we're going to see him on the field.
Mm-hmm.
But behind Josh, you got Josh Norman and Fabian Moreau, and then if Quentin Dunbar's not in, there's a whole lot of youth.
Yeah.
And DRC.
Yeah, DRC. That's about it.
I didn't think DRC looked all that great, frankly.
But he's there to be that emergency backup. That's why we have him. But that one series, the goal line stand where it was all Cole Holcomb and Jimmy Moreland.
Yeah.
And even on the big play that kind of led to it, Moreland tackles the receiver, doesn't bring him down. Holcomb comes and cleans it up. Then the next play I think was Holcomb, then Moreland again. Those two in that series were really impressive.
Was it a touchdown, by the way?
No.
I thought it was a touchdown.
Was it a touch? Officially, no. I thought so, yes.
I thought it was. We were talking about the controversial play that it was, I think, a square out, I think, or at least a dig route across the field, and Moreland was in one-on-one coverage. And it looked
like the knee came down and he had it.
I thought it was probably more likely not a touchdown, but it was still decent coverage. And listen, Moreland did pretty well in man coverage. Maybe I'm wrong. He didn't look horrible. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying in regular season, I don't think you want him out there matching up against elite receivers.
I think with his size, too, he'll get taken advantage of by teams if you do him that way.
Yeah, I don't want you're going to put him against N'Keal Harry.
Yeah, right.
That might not go well.
Yeah. Put him against a guy like Crowder, a small slot guy. I bet he would do pretty well in man coverage there.
Yeah, maybe. He's a young guy. He's going to get better.
Right.
I don't think he's ready. I think the fans probably think more of him. I'm not trying to degrade him in any way, but I think the fans probably think more of him than he's really ready for, just because he's flashy and he's got a personality
and quasi-local.
And he's a quasi-local, so he's out there. That's all.
Yeah.
Who else do we have? Random notes. I think Sean Wilson did not help himself in punt returns. He looked like every other Redskins punt returner.
Nobody on returns impressed me. I was kind of watching that all night.
Yeah, I knew you. I figured you would be, but I was kind of hoping Sean Wilson, because Sean Wilson, if those of you don't know who the heck he is, undrafted free agent, came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden he was second on the depth chart for punt returns. So clearly Jay thought, or at least the special teams staff thought a lot of him, and that he got his opportunity early in the game Thursday, and I didn't think he looked very good. So
no. No, we're still searching for a punt returner in my book.
We're going to be searching for a punt returner forever, it seems like.
Well, and, I don't think it's going to happen under this coaching staff. Someday we'll get a coaching staff again who actually cares about special teams, like Joe Gibbs used to, and George Allen used to. Like, great coaches tend to care about that stuff. I don't know why all these other coaches think you can do without it.
I don't know why we can't get somebody who can put a competent special teams team together, who can get decent amount of yards.
I mean, I'll give them credit. We've got a good punter. We've got a decent kicker.
Oh yeah,
we've got good coverage guys. But finding a punter or a punt returner has been so elusive.
I mean, and congratulations on Nick Sundberg on winning the job.
Yeah, right.
Mr. Sean Johnson got cut.
Yeah,
Well, Andrew East married to the gymnast Sean Johnson.
Right. Well, his life is okay, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's doing all right.
So since you brought up cuts, do you want to go through the other moves? I mean, we're around 45 minutes. We got to talk that. We got to talk Sonny Jurgensen before we go.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Okay, so roster moves.
Yeah.
Josh Woodrum headed to the IR.
All right.
And don't be surprised if you see an injury settlement in a couple weeks with him. Okay, he's not going to be here. They signed quarterback Jalen McClendon. I'll get back to him in a minute. Defensive back DeJuan Neal, linebacker Darrell Williams. They waived linebacker Garrett Sickles, waived wide receiver T.J. Rahming. Now, to get to Jalen McClendon first. Jalen McClendon spent 3 years at North Carolina State, barely played, sat out the 2017 season, and then was at Baylor for 2018. Barely played there. Played a little bit more. Started maybe one game. Got playing time in others. So, I mean, at Baylor, he was a 60% passer, 55 for 91, 715 yards. Really big guy. He's 6'5", 221 pounds.
Wow.
So he's a big classic pocket passer. I would assume he has a big arm. Not going to pretend like I watched much Jalen McClendon film today in the hours before the show, considering I was in airports today. But I would assume what we're going to see is a big arm from him.
I was kind of surprised that that's who they went with, because I know they also brought in Connor Cook.
They did. I kind of thought Connor Cook might have been the guy, but Jay said this guy McClendon had a good workout. So
okay, and I guess also with the Connor Cook guy, you bring him in more if you're looking for someone you're going to keep on your roster.
Yeah, because let's be honest, Jalen McClendon is not going to be on the roster.
No, Jalen McClendon's playing for game film for other leagues.
I think his best hope for the Redskins, if he has a hope for the Redskins, is that he impresses so much that they keep him around on the practice squad. But absent that, I mean, he's no way beating out.
We're probably going to have three quarterbacks. I don't think we'll keep one on the practice squad.
I don't either, but I'm just saying, if I were Jalen, that would be my ceiling. That I'd be playing for, at least Redskin-wise. DeJuan Neal is unbelievably another guy from Shepherd University. We talked about this in pre-show. This team, miraculously enough, has now two players from Shepherd University, which has got to be some kind of record.
Right.
Outside linebacker Miles Humphrey is a teammate of DeJuan Neal at Shepherd University, so that's just amazing.
And I think their mascot is a crook or something. It's really weird.
I didn't look that up. They're a crook.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's a shepherd's crook.
Okay. Oh, okay. I thought you meant somebody's stealing.
Don't quote me on it, but I think that's what it is. It's something ridiculous.
Somebody who's committing a crime. Okay. We also signed linebacker Darrell Williams. Darrell Williams is a little bit more known to some of you guys. He was at Auburn. Linebacker, 6'2", 240 pounds. Was spent 4 years at Auburn. 183 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 1 interception. So that's a little bit more of a traditional signing. We'll see how he does. And like I said, goodbye to Garrett Sickles. Goodbye to T.J. Rahming. It was fun knowing you. And so that was roster moves for the week.
That is not a lot of names that you're going to expect to see on the 90 or the 53.
No. Probably none of them.
Oh, no, wait. It's just a ram. It's not a crook. Their mascot's a ram.
Okay, that makes me feel better because, a crook, that's a bit odd. But there's some weird mascots out there. It could have been,
Yeah. We have a player from, I just looked it up earlier. I can't remember. But their mascot's a hat of some kind.
Well, the Hatters.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. That is, God, who?
Is it Stetson University?
Yes, thank you. It's Stetson.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, because it's Donald Parham, because I used the word the Hatters in my big Donald Parham expose.
Oh, right. Yeah. That's a weird one. There's some fun, weird mascots on those small schools. That I like some of them.
There are. Yeah, it's a bit odd.
Yeah. Well, so that kind of does it for the moves. We got 10 minutes left. There was one story that came out right before the game, which I thought was weirdly timed, by the way. But that was that Sonny Jurgensen, 85 years old, is announcing that he has retired from doing Redskins games. We kind of knew it was coming. I mean, one, he's 85. Two, like, if you listen to him, not quite the same as, he had been in past years. He was starting to slow down a little. And I think he was doing the thing where he was only doing home games.
He was only doing home games. Yeah. I mean, you listen to him. God bless him. He's a Redskin legend. Yeah. But, I'm not going to badmouth him.
Yeah, it was time to go. In the prime, like, 80s, 90s, Sonny Sam and Frank days, there was nothing better than listening to him and, Sam Huff just go nuts.
I was lucky enough to meet Sam Huff once, and it was really neat, meeting him. And it was back when Sam was still kind of with it. Because there at the end, Sam kind of got too old for it, too.
I think they've also kind of said he has dementia or something like that. He's got some mental health issues.
But he did not. When I met him, that didn't happen. So God bless Sonny. Good luck in your retirement. They said on the broadcast that he was in Florida, I think. Yeah. So I hope everything goes well for you. Enjoy your retirement. Well earned. And to the new guys in the booth, I think the team is good. The guys up there, Chris Cooley, Doc Walker, Larry Michaels. I like all those guys. And, we love Doc on this show.
We love Doc. I love Chris. Larry, I'm hoping they replace quickly because I think he's
Larry's
a blight
not going anywhere. Yeah. Larry's not going anywhere. Larry's the Hall of Fame voter.
Yeah, and let's just say he's the most well-connected person in Redskins Park.
I was honestly very surprised that he was the Hall of Fame voter. I have to wonder. I mean, we're not in the room, and I know we interviewed Rick Gosselin, that one time a couple years ago. I have to wonder how seriously Larry Michaels taken when he's not a real journalist.
I mean, he's not the first team employee to get that gig. Supposedly, I think someone else.
Really?
When it happened, I remember seeing that one other team or two other teams done something like this. But it is weird. Like, first off, that should belong to a John Keim or somebody who's been a beat writer for a long time.
I don't think ESPN allows the local beat writers to do it.
And I know we've talked to Rick about it, and he said he just doesn't want to do it. He didn't want. He never had any interest. And
I don't know if Rick ever said that in public on the show, so I hope you don't mind me said that, Rick. But
I'm pretty sure he said that in public.
Did he? I don't know. But look, I'm against the media being voters in the first place. So I mean, from that respect, you want to make Larry Michael a voter, make him a voter because I think there's way too many reporters on the committee in the first place.
Well, it's just weird that like ESPN doesn't let you do it. Multiple media outlets don't let you do it, which is odd.
I mean, you take a lot of criticism for it. Maybe they just don't want the controversy, I guess. I look, I've said this before, but in brief form, here's what I think needs to happen. First of all, I think everybody on the Hall of Fame committee now needs to be dismissed. All of them. Mm-hmm. Get rid of them all and replace them with a combination of, number one, a few Hall of Fame players. Sure. And to those of you in the media who say, well, the players, aren't going to take it seriously. Well, you know what? Find some that do.
Right.
Some of them would, so find, some number of them, 10 or 15 of them that would take it seriously. Find some football GM type guys, like Bobby Beathard types when Bobby was healthy. Those type of guys, put some of those guys on.
Well, first off, there's a bunch of those guys in the Hall of Fame. That's where you start.
Yeah. I mean, but some retired GM, front office types, who are sort of around football, them. A handful of current players, and before you guys say it, yes, you could find a handful of them that would take it seriously.
Right.
And then, some front office type, have some current GMs do it. A handful of current NFL GMs, and then a couple of NFL front office guys. And then you have a handful of national reporters also. I think that's what you do, make them the voters, not just a bunch of reporters.
No, it shouldn't just be reporters. I think we've talked about that. But let's get back to the whole Sonny thing, because it really is an amazing career when you think about it. When did he start playing with the Redskins? Was it 65 or so?
Late 60s. Yeah, late 60s.
Because I know he was on the Eagles in 1960 when they won their championship pre-NFL, or pre-Super Bowl. And then he came to the Redskins not long after. So maybe like 63?
64.
64. I said 65 and 63. I was half right.
You missed it on either side.
Yeah.
Just as a resume, 5-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first-team All-Pro, 1-time second-team All-Pro, led the NFL in passing yards 5 separate times, 2-time passing touchdowns leader, 60s All-Decade team, obviously in the Ring of Fame. Obviously in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Truly elite career, and regardless of how it kind of ended up, in terms of the broadcast in the last couple of years, he's a Redskins legend, and we're all going to miss him.
I mean, I don't think anyone would expect you to be on the ball when you're in your 80s anyway. I don't think his broadcast career went poorly. The first 20 years or so were really, really great, and then he just had some okay years towards the end. That's fine.
Yeah, and they had Cooley there to kind of fill in the gap anyway.
Yeah, and Cooley I think will be great in the future. I do wonder how it's going to work with 2 tight ends kind of doing this all the time. That's kind of weird.
They know what they're doing, though. It's not like both of them don't know what they're talking about.
That's true. I get hung up on the whole we should have one defensive guy thing. And
I love Doc's attitude more than anything.
I do, too.
Doc's like, I love Doc. We need to get him back on the show here for the start of the season.
Yeah, we should try.
Let him talk for an hour, and we'll just listen.
Sure. Just let's not schedule it for a late night, because you know how those go.
yeah, that's true. We need to do it when it's during the day.
Yeah.
Okay, real fast. We have the Cincinnati Bengals coming into FedEx Field this week. In terms of game preview, it's much the same for me, at least. I don't know about you, Alex. As last week, we don't really have one because there isn't really much to preview. All I'm looking for personally is to see competent NFL play on offense and defense. I think Jay will play the starters, probably all of them, at least a little bit, so we'll get to see them. Hope to see a team, an offense that can move the ball competently in the air and on the ground and score some points and then get off the field. That's what I hope to see.
I agree with all that, and because I am in the camp bench Haskins for the year, I want to see a ton of him still. Give him another half. I mean, if we're giving him the second and third quarter every game for these 4 preseason games, I'm very happy with that. I think he needs as much playing time as possible in preseason.
And by the way, I went back and forth on my grade for him. I mean, I think I probably would have given him a C-. Because you saw his arm talent, and I didn't think he was terrible. I mean, he was terrible at times.
Bad.
They were bad.
Yeah.
But all the same, I'm not down on him at all. So like you, I'd love to see him play because I hope he doesn't play in the season. I agree, totally agree.
And I think you need to just get him it's okay for him to take these hits and make interceptions right now. That's what I want. This is when you do it.
Now, the Falcons game in Week 3 is going to be another story, but we'll get to that when we get to it, I guess.
Yeah.
But in terms of the Bengals, I mean, don't get hurt. Look competent. Get better. Defensively, for the love of God, don't just let Andy Dalton and company just march straight down the field on us. Please stop them. There's not much to say except be competent, don't get hurt. That's all I want to see.
Maybe it's all part of their elaborate plan, Steve. They're going to just let the starters do their thing so that the defense doesn't have to get tired.
There you go. Yeah, maybe that's it. I'm sure that's it.
It's all a plan.
It's all a plan. That's right.
Right.
It's Jay Gruden being sneaky.
Right. Because that's been his MO on defense the whole time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's like some weird reverse psychology thing with him.
Right. All right, well, I think we're right about an hour right now, so we can wrap this thing up unless there's anything else you think we're missing on the...
I'm just flipping through Jay's quotes from today to see if there's anything all that interesting that I had forgotten. He did say that Colt will be available. He said, I think Colt will be available for preseason game 2. So there's that.
Okay, so real quick, if Colt's available, how do you divide up the time between Colt, Case, Haskins, and
me?
The last guy, the new kid?
I think you leave. I'm not on Team J when it comes to his handling of the preseason. I would play the starters more.
Sure.
I just don't think you can play scared and play hurt, play to injuries like this. Yes, we've had about a ton of bad luck, but I think they need, if we've seen anything of this team in week 1 over the years with him, it's that they need more practice. So I would play Colt in the starters for at least in the full quarter.
Sure. Okay.
And then I would go Case in the second team for probably 2 full quarters, and then give Dwayne the fourth quarter. That's what
you give Case 2 quarters. Okay,
yes.
I would probably go.
I would give the second team the 2 full quarters.
Gotcha. Well, I would just talking quarterbacks. I would probably go a quarter each for Case and Colt, and then the last half for Haskins would be what I'd do. But
yeah,
fair
enough.
It doesn't really make that much of a difference, I guess.
Yeah, and real quick, injuries. The only injury from the game that was of any consequence was
Woodrum.
Woodrum, and then McKenzie and Sean Dan Hamilton. Dan Hamilton came back in. McKenzie had a bruised chest, I think. Trey Quinn, sore thumb. He's probably going to be questionable for Thursday. So that was, if there was any one good thing, that was it.
That's the only other thing I want to see in this next week game. I want to see 1 or 2 of these starting receivers of ours really get some playing time and show something, because our passing game desperately needs something.
And Darius Geis. I want to see Darius Geis get some carries.
Yeah, that'd be good too. All right, that puts us at an hour. We padded for long enough. Thanks to all of our listeners for listening. A reminder, we have now started our affiliation with the Big Heads Podcast Network. So if you like our show, you should go over there and listen to other podcasts. They have sports podcasts, they have political podcasts, they have comedy podcasts. Whatever your thing is, they have a podcast for it. If you're into wood whittling, I'm sure they have a podcast for it out there. So
just please don't. If you're into politics, please don't bring it to us. That's all we ask.
No, we get enough of that.
Yeah,
off air. Yes. All right. So other than that, I hope everyone enjoys Thursday night.
Bye.